We've got a great panel here. My name is Piers, Ridyard. I'm the CEO of Radix DLT. We're a new protocol technology that's been in R&D for 6 years. But this panel is not about me, so I'm going to be introducing each of these guys in turn so they can talk about the importance of smart contracting platforms and different ways of building them. So first we've got Yanni, founder of Aeternity. We've got Hongfei, co-founder of Neo. We have Xinshu, the CEO of Zilliqa. And we have Zhuling, the co-founder of Aelf. Apologies. So I'm going to start off and just go through each of you and give you a chance to talk a little bit about your platform and how your approach differs from the Ethereum method of doing smart contracts. So if we start with you, Yanni.
Yeah, thank you, Piers. My name is Yanni. I'm from the Eternity blockchain project. I'm the founder. We did a token sale in 2017. Back then, it was the largest token sale after DAO for 2-3 days. We used the funds to develop a new blockchain platform from scratch, a smart contract platform for, essentially improving everything of what a smart contract platform is made of, starting with a consensus, starting with of course, also programming language in which the full nodes are written in, generally being a bit higher than other smart contract platforms. So we integrate, for example, also oracles and tokens and other primitives in our smart contract language, which is also a functional language like Erlang, like the language we are building the full nodes in. And at the same time, we are building the community, so it's not just software which we are doing. It's more than that. Any specific question, Piers?
No, just your introduction, and then Hongfei, if you would like to also introduce Neo.
Yeah, personally, I came across Bitcoin quite early in 2011, and then I started a project called Nshares with Eric Zhang, two co-founders, back to 2014. That's about 4 months or 5 months later than Ethereum announced their project. So later on, we rebranded to a new name, the current name, Neo. The key difference of Neo and other blockchains is we have different consensus mechanism. We're the first in the world used a BFT-style mechanism in a public blockchain. And also we have dual token economic model. We have 2 tokens, the Neo and the gas. Neo is more like the governance token. You can use Neo as voting power to do on-chain governance. And if you hold a Neo token, you will be gradually distributed with gas token. Gas is a utility token. And also the smart contract system is very different. We call it, we have our own VM called Neo VM. You can write a smart contract in most of the major languages like C#, Java, Go, and we have compilers to compile it into bytecode that will be run on Neo VM. So that's also the smart contracts difference. And also, I think the ideology is quite different. We have a stronger governance. We are not as decentralized as Bitcoin or Ethereum at this stage. We believe a more progressive decentralization is more practical. So that's a big difference.
Cool. Thank you very much. Xinshu.
Yes, that's right. Hi, my name is Xinshu from Zilliqa. We are a new blockchain platform with teams based, largely speaking, in Singapore and in London. So people know us for having implemented sharding in a public blockchain space. But today we are going to talk about something equally interesting, the smart contract part. So for Zilliqa's smart contract, we designed a new language called Silica. So the idea is that we want to create a language that is somehow by design to make something called formal verification much easier. So just to let me explain a little bit about formal verification. So this is about using mathematical tools to show that certain properties that you want in your program will always hold. And then once we show that they always hold, they will hold no matter whether you have bugs in your programs or you somehow neglect some of the side effects of the programming language. So this is a very high level assurance that your program is correct by your own definition. We just launched our mainnet, and now this is in a bootstrapping phase, which is going to end by the end of the month. So from April onwards, people will actually be able to start sending transactions and running smart contracts on Silica. And a key theme for Zilliqa for 2019 is to bootstrap a platform that is going to bring value. So clearly, there's value in terms of technical, sort of advancement, but I think there's going to be more value in bringing interesting use cases to show that by running transactions, by running smart contracts on the blockchain platform, things can be done in an easier manner, can be done in a more transparent manner, or things can be done with low cost. Yeah, that's sort of the objective for Zilliqa as a platform.
Thank you very much. And Zhuling.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Zhuling, so the co-founder of Aelf. So Aelf started in late 2017, where we only did a private token sale just to raise the funding and just to solve a problem where we see that business ultimately will be run on top of blockchain. So I'm here alone today for the conference because our team is still busy with the code auditing and some of the tech bug fixing in Singapore and China. My background started as a business consultant, helping different corporates and governments to grow their business. So what we've seen in different regions was that we see things are getting digitalized, and also I'm very convinced that it will get tokenized as the next step. So we want to build a platform that really helps the smart contracts to run in a fast and also efficient way. So that's what we're working on. So the first thing, the problem statement we're trying to solve is that we found running thousands of smart contracts on one blockchain is a bit too rigid, and also it may not be the most efficient way. So what we have built from scratch is a multi-chain architecture that we have different smart contracts running on their own side chains. So this has naturally separated the unrelated transactions from each other. And in order to facilitate more interactions of different applications, we have a main chain that very justifies what has happened on all the side chains, so that reduces the counterparty risk. So applications can easily work together with others. And the other thing that we have worked on is to help smart transactions to be processed in parallel. So in order to avoid double spending, we have to first develop a task scheduler that determines what is the interdependency of each transaction. Once the interdependency has been fully understood, the independent transactions can be fed into the nodes for processing in parallel. So doing this, we can have a more flexible sidechain structure that companies and developers can do more customization on the sidechains. And also they have more guaranteed performance because of the parallel processing.
Thank you very much. So we've got two sort of very different approaches at the high level in how you guys are building. Xinshu and Yanni, both of you guys have created your own language. For you guys, it's Scylla, and for you guys, it's Sophia, that's right. So a developer that wants to build on your platform would have to learn that language versus, obviously, Neo and Aelf, you don't have to do that. I'd be really interested to see your two views and approaches on that. So I'm going to start with you, Xinshu. Why should someone learn a new language to build on top of Zilliqa?
So I think this is about the requirements. So if you are building an application that doesn't require a very strict level of, let's say, security or security assurance, you don't necessarily have to use Scylla. But we want to provide at least an option, an alternative to the status quo, which is that if you're really, let's say, transacting high volume in terms of, let's say, dollar value, or you are doing something that's very important because you are dealing with people's lives, for example. You don't want anything to go wrong. For such very critical applications, when you have the requirements, when you have the budget, you want a framework at least to provide you this kind of opportunity to run something on the blockchain with very high assurance that things are going correct. So that's sort of the way we position Scylla. But of course, although I think, personally, I think Scylla is not a difficult language to learn. I'm not a very good programmer, but I look at Scylla, I think it's straightforward. It's very similar to JavaScript, to Solidity, but for any new language, I think there's going to be a barrier for developers to spend more time, more effort to learn it. So we have plans in place to find ways to sort of compile different types of language that people are more familiar with today into Scylla. So Scylla is just the first step. This is the beginning of a new opportunity where people can more easily verify the correctness of their programs. But I think going forward, we're trying to make this process much easier. But to me, the first step is very important. It's more strategic and it's more challenging to accomplish.
Okay. Yanni?
Why?
Why should a developer learn
Programming language,
Yeah.
not JavaScript?
exactly?
Actually, you can use JavaScript a functional way. If you like to, you can say that JavaScript is a functional language because you have functions as first-class citizens there, and you can pass functions to functions. But there are other issues with JavaScript. I think this has been very much documented online. Same thing with Solidity. It's a good way to start programming. With JavaScript, for example, just right-click, inspect element, and you can start writing code in the console. That's cool. Similar with Ethereum, but as soon as you want to do serious things, for example, when you assume that in the future there will be trillions worth of digital assets handled by smart contracts on public blockchains as well as private blockchains, then you want to do it the better way, the safer way, in order to avoid things like have happened with the DAO or the parity bug 1 and 2. I mean, there are important reasons why, for example, when you write code which has a lot of responsibility, essentially, that you use methods of formal verification, which we are also looking into, by the way. I mean, this is the benefit of functional languages, that you don't have side effects, like random side effects. And I mean, we are here, I think, because we believe that in the future blockchains will handle essentially all the digital assets. And for certain things, you want to have the highest security, the highest professionalism, which is available in the software industry. And this is what we are working on with also a team of highly renowned developers and researchers in the space. And I mean, start with Ethereum, and then as soon as you want to do serious stuff, look into better ways of doing this.
Use Eternity. Hongfei.
Mm-hmm. I do agree that security is a very important issue, but we take a different approach. I think at this stage, it is very important to attract talents, especially developers from the more mainstream or conventional developer community. So we decided to support mainstream matured languages. But actually, new VM is language independent. So you can have different compilers. Today we support Java, C#, JavaScript, Go. In the future we can support your language or your language. That will be easier. And formal verification can be integrated with can verify those compilers to make sure its correctness. So I think language is not the most important barrier for the future blockchains. So it's more like, it's more important to have a bigger developer community.
Right, understood.
Yeah, so I'm kind of, with Hongfei on this stance. I just want to share a story. So I was in San Francisco, I think like a few months ago, got into a debate with a guy who is a developer there, and he claimed that he thinks blockchains should use a completely new language, because that's the only way that you separate all the stupid guys and only get the smartest guys onto blockchain. And I was like, logically, I agree with you. It does achieve your objective, but it does not achieve my blockchain objective, which is mass adoption, getting more people to try out things. That's why we also start with C#, same as Neo, because it's quite commonly used and also tested. Building a blockchain, has a lot of different aspects of tasks, right? We focus on the engineering side of having the right architecture and having the whole platform stable and secure. At current stage, we don't think we can juggle with every single aspect and just saying, okay, we need to do innovation on every single thing. We've seen hundreds of projects running right now. There are other projects working on different aspects. We may just work together with them in the future. Using C# right now, we do plan to support F# in the future so that it also have some formal verification capability. And currently, we do work with a few code auditing companies so that they can use their capability to help the developers on the security side. We have come to a stage where right now we talk to companies and we want them don't have too much concerns of trying things out on us. And this actually works quite well because even some IT solution companies say, oh, okay, it's not too much frictions for us, to incorporate guys in our brochure and help, our clients to serve their needs. I think that's what we're trying to achieve right now, and it does.
Right. I mean, it also comes back. This is a really interesting point, and Hongfei also made the point about community and how important community is. Like, if we want this to transition into the mainstream, if we want people building things of value on it, then we need to reach out and enable those people to build on top of our various platforms. So, Hongfei, could you...
Bugs on the platforms.
Sorry?
To build bugs on the platforms. I don't think this will lead to mass adoption if we work with smart contract languages, which are not made for blockchains, because this will lead to lots of problems, as well as you need some domain-specific things in the programming languages in order to, for example, handle tokens. Almost every smart contract wants to do this, so why not just build it into the smart contract language? Makes a lot of sense, I think.
My counter argument will be security is not free.
Right.
It's very expensive. So if you design a language that's perfectly secured, you build the software perfectly secured, the software will be very expensive. Not every software or application needs that kind of level of security, actually. So I think
only the most important ones.
Yes, only the most important ones. So in the future, we'll live in a hybrid world. So some of the softwares, they need to go with formal verification, need to maybe use a new language. Some of them will just use conventional languages.
Very interesting. So when you're building a community around your platform, could you speak a little bit about how Neo is doing that and what you guys are doing in the future for that?
I just mentioned the main difference from Neo and Ethereum is we have a stronger governance. So we kept about 50% of all the tokens to Neo Foundation.
Yep.
So Neo Foundation can use that token to incentivize the community. We sponsored about 12 developer communities around the world. The biggest one is called City of Zion. They have a few dozens of developers, full-time developers, mostly based in American and Europe. And also we funded other communities like New Research, they're in South America, and also one in Japan, a few in Europe, I believe. So the communities are very geographically very distributed in different places. And we also have a investment arm. It's called NGC, or New Global Capital. They're using the token from Neo Foundation to invest in the ecosystem projects and also other blockchain projects. And they are doing very well in investment return. I think that's, with a combination of these different methods, that's the key, how we build a bigger community.
Thank you. Zhuling, how are you building a community around Aelf?
Yeah, so we are really so what we've seen in the market right now is that, not just for Aelf, but for most of the projects, one struggle we have is there's a huge mismatch of your token holders and your target end users. So that actually creates a lot of frictions and also a lot of confusions in terms of what kind of path you're trying to take. So we do want to focus on the fundamentals. We try to focus on nurture people to understand more of what Aelf is trying to achieve and what Aelf is doing. And although we originated from Asia, so we have office in Beijing, Singapore, and South Korea, but our goal is to have a global community, and I would say so far, our community is quite global. Yeah. So the one thing that we want to do with the community is that we want to engage them to also do work with us. So all our moderators, our community is managed by volunteers that has been with us from day one. And also we want to create job opportunities for those guys. So our community leaders, our copywriters, those all came from our community. And on the other hand, when we are looking at how to nurture developers and help them to build real business on top of us, we're kind of debating, okay, whether money is the only thing that is required to help for them to succeed. And my assessment is that, okay, given this is a very early industry, they need more than just money. So what we figure out is they need money, they need the business sense, and also they need the technical support. That's why we have built up an alliance, which is called Aelf Innovation Alliance, trying to have very strong partners that can help on these three domains. So we invited, experienced funds. We also invited business consultancy companies. We invited some of the research arms of exchanges. We also invited code auditing firms like Certic or a seller network. Those are the technical partners. So we want to have this kind of a solution that helps developers whenever they need, whether be it capital or be it technical or business side.
Thank you. Xinshu, how are you starting your community around Scylla, and how are you building and encouraging developers to build on top of Zilliqa?
Right. I think first of all, let me try not to pretend that I have the best answers to all these questions. I think building a community is a hugely challenging task that requires a lot of creativity because, some commonalities aside, if you look at different projects, all communities are quite different. It's like you're looking at people with different, personalities. So, I don't know all the best answers, but we did learn some of the lessons the hard way sometimes. So I have a few thoughts to share. I think, first of all, in general, whatever type of community you're trying to nurture, I think, at least in the beginning, it's very important to be very hands-on. So we did that. When we started the project, almost all the co-founders were, in the chats with every single person in the community at that time. I remember for a very long time, I would, read every single message from the community every single day. So it was that kind of, engagement that gave the community people a feeling that these people are serious people, and then they are really, onto something. So that's number one. I think that's a sort of a general principle we got from our own experience. And secondly, I think priority and timing are also very important. So in terms of, let's say, Scylla developers, we feel that education is just very important. Education is probably of very high priority at this stage because you are talking about something that's, very cool, but people don't understand. Just explaining what is formal verification, explaining why that is important will take you some time. And expecting people to learn a new language, that's another, huge challenge. So that's why I put a lot of time and resources into education. We try to build tutorials so that people can see how it is actually not difficult to write something in Scylla with our help with the templates. Number two is that we engage student groups because these are the people who are having more creativity and who have sort of less boundaries here and there. They can do many of the things out of the box. That's why we work with universities, we work with student organizations, sometimes face-to-face, sometimes even for a program of a few weeks. Seriously engaging them, trying to educate that, this is something you can think about doing. There are many cool things you can do with Scylla. So I think that takes more time. Sometimes the growth of so-called the size of the community with that kind of, engaged approach may be much slower. But I think that's fine because we know what is the priority and we know what kind of people we need to really spend a lot of effort in attracting onto the platform.
Thank you. Yanni?
Yeah, we set up two foundations, two charitable foundations, one focusing on the Balkans, the other one for the planet. These foundations, they give out research grants and development grants to open source developers. At the same time, it funds decentralized global ambassador network, which organizes monthly meetups, which have happened, as far as I know, on every continent on this planet except Antarctica. Yeah, I was thinking of going there to organize it there as well. But yeah, this will evolve, or has already evolved, into decentralized hackathons. We had, unfortunately, a power outage in Venezuela, so we had lots of sign-ups from Venezuela. So Venezuela is currently really into crypto, partly because of the government as well, who created their own cryptocurrency. Which not many people talk about. I would like to know more about this, so if somebody knows more about it, please let me know later on. And yeah, besides this, we are supporting startups with our incubator, so giving them not just financial support, but also marketing support, and generally how to develop as a startup. We have very experienced people in there, so we want to essentially create this community of developers, entrepreneurs who create value on top of the platform which we are building, and we set up everything to do so.
Thank you. Okay, so the last question that I have before we hand it over to audience questions, so start thinking of some questions if you want some to ask some to these guys, is obviously on the flip side of this, the application side. So you can't do everything. Like, you can build generalized platforms, but you have to start thinking about what applications you really want to focus your time, your development effort, your focus on. So maybe if we can just go around quick fire and say, what smart contract applications are you most excited about this year and next year, and where are you going to be focusing your efforts?
Yep. Honestly, I don't have a definite answer to that. Because this is also a debate of what exactly a public blockchain company is. Should we just focus on building the best product and somehow get people to be excited about it and stimulate their creativity? Let things happen on top of us. Basically, we create a really attractive land and let people to build. Or should we go down a way that is, okay, we need to prove the point on our own, so we go down a vertical and try to make, build something like that. I think the good thing is that, okay, the market is huge enough that different projects are trying out different things. For us right now, we are looking at a few industries. I think those are the general ones that all of us are looking at, like financial services, gaming companies. In addition to that, we're also looking at telecommunication operators, because based on our architecture, actually, they could be running on our nodes. And also, for them, there is a need for them to innovate in the next generation of internet. So that's something that we are also exploring over there, just as one of the thoughts we have. Yeah.
Cool. Xinshu.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that although we are sometimes building very general purpose platforms, we are at this juncture that we have to showcase some of the compelling use cases as a whole space, not just as one project. So that's why we are focusing some of our energy on quite specific use cases, I would say, or quite specific categories of use cases. For us, it's more about how do we best leverage the security and scalability capabilities provided by this Zilliqa platform. So we are very interested in things like payments, settlements, tokenization. So these are sort of the key areas we're looking at.
Great, thank you. Hongfei.
I believe these days gaming is the most interesting sector. Yes, yeah. in blockchain scope. I'm very excited. There will be a new game on Neo. It's called Crypto Fast.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a car racing game.
Cool.
It's a 3D game, so the video is really good. I've looked at a preview a few days ago.
Yeah.
We held a new first game conference in Tokyo.
Cool.
I think it's last week, 3 days ago. They showcased the company showcased the game. It looks very good. So I'm looking forward to that. And the gaming is, the interesting thing about like car racing game is they can do like airdrop, but not tokens, but cars. They can airdrop a Lambo, a Ferrari to your account. So that will be a very, very interesting marketing scheme. Let's see how it worked.
Cool. Yanni?
And the priorities for our community or for our technology?
For your technology, what smart contract applications are you most excited about?
So use cases. Yeah, I think gaming is great. Generally also everything which is kind of like in the gray area, so where traditional financial systems don't reach to, as well as developing countries, use cases in developing countries, where there is no existing financial system is super fascinating. I think generally that blockchain will take off first in developing countries, so somewhere where there is no WeChat or no functioning banking system, probably also no functioning government. So financial stuff is one great application for blockchain, but also governance. So how do we make decisions together in a community, whether it's a local community, a global community, or whether it's a community for, I don't know, the future on Mars. We need to kind of reach consensus, not just technically, but also socially.
Right. Any questions? You can put your hand up if you have any questions. No questions? That means that we can finish on time. Thank you very much for your attention and have a great evening.